BMW is getting rid of one, refreshing another. I've got an interview on today's episode and a bone to pick with Ionna Circle K. This is what's up. Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of What's Up, and since you're seeing it this week, that means Walmart has still not opened up the charging station at Lake St. Louis. I don't know what's going on. I'm keeping my eye on it. As soon as it opens, I'll be out there doing reviews. So, with that, we're just going to get right into it. I got quite a bit to go over, and for the first time, I've got an interview that will be popping in towards the end. So, let's do it. Right, industry news. Not a whole lot I got here. The BMW iX SUV is officially gone. I think a lot of people thought it already was. With all the Neue Class coming out, especially the iX3, possibly an iX5 maybe, iX7, who knows where they're going to go with this. But yeah, so if you want a BMW iX, you better go get it now. Also leaving the United States is the Volkswagen ID4. Which was recently refreshed not too long ago, but it is what it is. I've seen them out there. They're not bad little SUVs in that segment. I hate to see too much more leaving and not much coming. But with that, the BMW i7 has recently gone through a refresh. Not much visually on the outside. It's got some cues. And it's kind of weird because it's like half Neue Klasse, half old Klasse. I guess I need to work on my German. So it's got a lot of the zonal architecture now with the modules, and the wiring has been pared down much like Rivian did, and all the other Neue Klasse stuff has gone down, a lot less wiring throughout the car, but still running on a 400 volt architecture. So it's got the new batteries for the Neue Klasse, and so to make up for not being on the 800 volt architecture, apparently they have upped the amperage that it can handle, which is like 630 amps, which is currently beyond anything that in the United States can pump out. So hopefully we'll start seeing like the Alpatronic HIC 1000s would be able to match that, or at least perform that. So we'll see where that goes. I'll drop a link to Out of Spec review of the new i7. It looks like a pretty competitive vehicle in the luxury segment, so it'll be interesting to see where that goes. Next up, local news. Not a whole lot. I'm putting in here, check the link. I finally got the new version launched for the Amped Americano Index. So it won't just be a spreadsheet. It's actually sortable cards, searchable cards, everything color-coded. It just looks a lot nicer. So check that link out. I'll have that down in the description as well for the new Amped Americano Index. I'm pretty excited. Worked quite a bit to get that going. So go take a look and make me feel good about what I did. An interesting one. So on the heels that I've talked about before of the St. Louis County and City have the ordinance where any new commercial properties over 50 spaces have to have a certain number of chargers installed when they go live and be wired up for up to 5% of the total spaces, and including government buildings. Apparently St. Charles County is also trying to get a similar ordinance passed through. There's so much popping up. It'd be great to have a lot more level 2 charging, especially with all these apartment complexes coming everywhere. The issue is they are bumping up against the state, who is going the opposite direction and trying to enact or roll back electrical regulations back to like 2009. So that's the fun part about being an EV enthusiast in Missouri, is there's a lot of pushback from the state. I mean, even NEVI. State's been awarded $100 million in NEVI funds and has done nothing but spend some of it on pretending like they're planning on deploying. But we still have no NEVI stations even broken ground at this point. That's the state of that. The only other thing I wanted to cover locally is I need your guys' help. I need you to be my eyes out there. If you're in a parking lot, like, big box store, grocery store, and you see like white squares painted in a location where you think a charging station would be a good spot, and maybe also red paint and yellow paint for utility markers, it's a good chance that they're getting ready to dig and put something in there, and it may not be showing up on PlugShare or in other permits. So if you guys are out there and you see what, a lot of times you'll see white squares indicating where the charging modules themselves are going, bigger ones for where the transformer and the switchgear have to go. But if you spot that out there, let me know. I'll jump out there and see what I can dig into. But I need you guys to be my eyes. And a special request, if got anyone up in the North County area that wouldn't mind swinging by those two schnooks that are showing coming soon that I discussed a few weeks ago in the Are They Coming Soon video, just if you see construction started, let me know. I'll come check it out, and I'd be happy to report on that. We definitely want to see those stations going. Now on to national news, national EV charging news, that is. First up, a lot of you have probably already seen Ionna and Circle K have entered into a partnership where Ionna will be taking over all the charging at Circle K. There's 85 current locations that they are going to take over, and it looks like it gives them room for up to 350 plus stations to come in the future. So more stations, the better. And we like the Circle K stuff. It's interesting how, as EV drivers, sometimes we're like, "Oh, I'm so glad I don't have to go to gas stations." But now all the charging stations are popping up at gas stations. So I just find a little irony on that one. In charging installs, interestingly, it was a great quarter for DCFCs. It grew over 30%, while EV sales dipped 27%. So the infrastructure is improving. There will be chargers if you need them. And with that, interesting math piece, Tesla Superchargers now, their gap, they now own 55% of the charging market, which is a decrease for them. But it's also interesting to think that it still takes all of the other charging companies to make up the other 45%, just showing you how good Tesla did at building out their network ahead of the cars. So, forgot to mention. Got my Dutch Bros Americano here. Let me... before I start coughing in the mic. Ford, once again, has changed up their EV strategy, and for the most part, none of us know what that means. Doug Field is out as head of the EV consortium at Ford, and they're just kind of rolling everything together, restructuring. Hopefully it doesn't mean the death of the Mach-E, but probably does. Looks like they're going full in on the Ford Universal EV architecture, the FUEV. So we'll keep our eyes out on that. We'll see if there's any news that pops up. Either they're going to get the vehicles out or they're going to restructure it again. And Chargepoint released the Express Solo 600 kilowatt station, or at least that it's coming. It's going Europe first, unfortunately. It's not coming. We don't know when it's coming to America. But having 600 kilowatt architecture is better than 400 kilowatt architecture, because a lot of cars are going to 800 volts and higher and just able to accept that. And especially with split stations, it's good to have just the more power. So with that, we're going to get to the interesting part here. I had an opportunity to sit down with Zak from Rangeway, which is a startup EV charging company that is getting ready to launch. So let's roll to that interview, and I will see you on the other side. All right. I am here with Zak WInnick, someone I've recently been introduced to, and I thought it'd be great to have him on the channel as my first guest. Zak is a Rivian owner. He is the founder and CEO of Rangeway, and possibly more obsessed with coffee than me. So, how's it going, Zak?
About that, but how you doing, Eric? Thanks for having me on. I am honored to be your first guest as well. So thank you for the invite. I'm really excited to be here.
I appreciate it. I'm excited to have you on.
Yeah.
Just to not take up too much of your time, I guess we'll dig in here. First thing, I guess if you just want to kind of give a quick your background and how you ended up heading towards starting Rangeway and
Yeah,
how
totally.
it came about.
Um, yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I've been an EV owner for a little less than 15 years. I started off with a Tesla Model S, 85, rear wheel single motor. I was one of the first 8 people in the state of Tennessee back in 2014 to actually own a Tesla. So we were a very small community. There were 2 of us in Nashville. I think there were 3 in Knoxville and 2 in Memphis. And I think there might have been like 1 or 2, but we all kind of knew each other and we tried to do meetups. And that was one of my favorite cars I've ever owned. It didn't do very good in cold weather or snow and ice. So I unfortunately got rid of it after a couple of years and drove Jeeps for a little bit, but moved back to California about 5 years ago. And the very first thing I did was traded in my Jeep for a Model Y Performance, a 22 Model Y Performance. And I love that car to death. I put about 45,000, 50,000 miles on it in 2 years
Wow.
and decided that I wanted to try something new and heard a lot of great things about Rivian. And so I test drove a Rivian R1T on a rainy weekend in Sacramento. And that Wednesday, I put in a deposit and got my beautiful 2023 launch edition R1T, and it kind of changed my life. And basically, it introduced me to the Bay Area Rivian Club, and I was quickly immersed in that and very quickly became the community director for the club. So we're the largest chapter of Rivian Clubs of America. We have about 720 members across the
Oh, wow.
entire Bay Area. And so I plan all the events, I manage our online community, um, do all the social media for the club as well, which kind of led me to meeting a lot of people in the local EV space that are also like vloggers and celebrities, if you will, on social media. A couple of them are part of other EV car clubs. So we started a organization called NorCal EVs, which is a social organization that further enriches and enhances the education of EVs and outreach. So that's our official thing. But really, it's just a collection of all the EV car clubs up here just to give us an excuse to hang out and do
Nice.
really awesome drives. But in being in all of that, dealing, talking to members of the Bay Area Rivian Club, NorCal EVs, being very active on social media in the EV space because of owning a Rivian and just enjoying talking to people about it. The number one thing that I always kept hearing, which obviously brought you and I together as well as some of the other creators in the EV charging space, was that charging is a nightmare. And that's the one thing that people hate about driving an EV, more or less, is the experience of driving and having to charge on long distance trips. Usually you're stuck in a Walmart parking lot or behind a Target or at some crappy gas station in the middle of nowhere with a 50 kilowatt charger. So about a year ago, I lost my job. I was working for a AI healthcare startup, and they realized very quickly that they are an AI company, and they're like, "Well, why do we need to pay an IT director hundreds of thousands of dollars a year when we can just have our AI do it for free?" So, in trying to figure out what to do with my life, I decided to pivot, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do something about everybody complaining about EV charging. Before I got into tech, I worked in hotels for many, many years. I worked for a couple of big resorts in Las Vegas. I worked for some pretty big hotel brands in Nashville as well. So I know luxury hotels and I know EVs and EV charging because I've been an owner for so long. So I'm like, well, what would it look like if I put those two things together and kind of design the experience that everybody in the EV community is looking for? And that kind of led me down the road to Rangeway. And now we're about to start designing and developing 7 sites across the United States with 5 to 7 more in our pipeline. So hopefully in the next year or so, you'll have a Rangeway location near you. But I think we have a pretty unique model as well. So every one of our locations has guaranteed indoor space. So think of kind of like your favorite airline lounge, like the United Polaris Lounge or the American Airlines Admirals Club, but with EV charging and super. We're going to have DC fast charging, minimum 320 kilowatts at every one of our locations. We're using some new hardware from a company called Energetica, which is a Polish company. If you're familiar with some of the stuff in Europe, they actually are one of the largest suppliers for Ionity and their hardware. So we're actually working with them to help launch some new hardware that they're bringing to market next year. So that'll be pretty fun. So give all the charging nerds something new to nerd out about, which I'm excited about being one myself. And and we're just kind of taking a different approach. Like, there are other CPOs out there. I won't mention them by names, that are trying to do something similar, but if you've noticed, they're kind of not. So we're doing this the right way and methodically, and putting these chargers in places that people actually want to go.
Yeah, I've kind of noticed that it's funny, you hear a lot with EV owners that it's, so glad to be leaving gas stations behind, but now all the charging stations are popping up at gas stations.
Yeah,
Which,
exactly.
it's a give and a take. I see it both ways, but I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, it's a little interesting way to look at it. So I was looking at the website. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. No, go ahead.
I noticed you've got like 4 tiers that you're planning. I don't know if you want to run through those real quick, just give me an idea, and I'll pop up pictures as I can.
Yeah, sounds good. So we'll kind of start at the smallest tier or format, if you will, and those are our trailheads. And you'll kind of notice a little adventure theme. Obviously, being a Rivian owner, we're very adventurous.
When I saw them, I'm like, I could see the Rivian in this.
Yeah, I mean,
in a good way, in a very good way too. Yeah,
keep the world adventurous forever.
There you go.
Yeah, so our smallest format is our trailheads, and we were kind of trying to figure out what to do with some of those locations where we don't need to put the full-blown lounge and all of that stuff, or just give us an alternative to kind of partner with unique locations that might already have amenities. So that's what the trailheads are. Trailheads are typically going to be anywhere between 2 to 4 ports. They will always have a canopy with solar and small battery storage. We'll still have Wi-Fi. We'll have all the basic amenities that you want. So it'll have trash cans, it'll have squeegees, it'll have all of that. But it's more flexible on where we can put it. So we can put it in a supermarket parking lot, or we can find a really cool restaurant in a forest in Washington State and partner with them and put this location there as well. So it's kind of our site partner format. We're not looking to build a lot of those unless the right opportunity comes along, but we do have that available. The next one up from that is kind of what I'm planning on being one of our more popular locations, and that's going to be our way stations. So think 6 to 8 ports. It'll still have that solar canopy, still have all the basic amenities. But in addition to that, that's where the indoor space comes into play as well. So it's going to be for those locations where you're kind of en route to your destination. Think, maybe the Mojave Desert or someplace in Arizona or New Mexico, where it's not super remote, but it's not big enough or busy enough to necessitate staffing it 24 hours a day. So it's going to be climate controlled indoor location, still going to have that luxury feel to it. We're going to have some automated retail, not as crazy as the Amazon Just Walk Out technology, but also not as basic as your simple vending machine with candy bars and a Pepsi or Coke soda machine. We have some pretty unique partners that we're working with. I can't really talk about who they are yet, just because we haven't finalized those agreements. But you're going to see some really unique vending options in these spaces, and one of them I'm really excited about. It's a little startup company, and they're doing some amazing work. Moving on from the way stations are going to be our base camps, and those are kind of our signature locations. We're actually working on building one or two of these in Missouri. They're going to be our first one. Well, yeah, they'll be among the first ones, I'll say. And these are going to be the full service locations. So think 10 to 12 ports to start out with. It's going to have a very large building. It's going to have a full cafe on the inside of it, fully staffed. Yeah, dude. You'll get a kick out of this one. So, one of the concepts that we're looking to put in these is a coffee company that actually will roast all of the coffee on site using commercial roasters. And since you're spending 15, 20, 30 minutes there waiting for your car to charge, if you go in and get a cup of coffee and you really enjoy that coffee and you want to take some home with you, we'll roast a bag for you right on site. So,
wow.
Because it only takes about 12 to 15 minutes to roast a bag of coffee. And that way you can take it home. If you're going on a road trip, by the time you get home, 2 to 3 days, that's usually how long it takes for freshly roasted coffee to mature and get those flavors going. You'll be able to grind it up and drink a fresh cup of coffee just like you had at the base camp and wherever you stopped. So I think that's a pretty unique thing as well. But those will have the full thing. Way stations and base camps will also have restroom facilities. They'll also have the Wi-Fi. We're looking to use something like Starlink or whatever. So those will be really awesome. I'm really excited about the base camp one. And then kind of our signature piece that isn't going to be everywhere, and they're going to be in kind of super unique locations, is a new format that we just started talking about. It's called the Summit, mainly because it's the top tier, top format, whatever you want to call the summit of the mountain or peak. And these are going to be resort style locations. So think of something along the lines of like Auto Camp or Under Canvas, if you've ever heard of those.
I was thinking, yeah.
Yeah, and so basically we're going to have something similar to that that's kind of eco-focused. Most of these sites will be 100% off-grid. We have a fantastic energy partner that does solar with battery storage and EV charging. So don't think of it as EV charging with hotels or a resort built around it, but think of a resort that's built around the EV charging, if that makes sense. So
I saw the rendering on the website, and yeah, that was pretty cool. That's definitely screamed Rivian adventure right there. So
very heavily
like
influenced. Yeah, very heavily influenced by Rivian. Actually, they did an event last year with a bunch of people that got all X amount of referrals. I think it was like 25 referrals. They invited him out to this place in Joshua Tree called Reset. And when I was thinking of this concept, I thought of that. And I'm like, that would be really awesome. And this is like, it really appeals to people that are going on road trips, because we can put it doesn't take up as much land as you think, and each one of those modular rooms or cabins aren't very big. They're about 400 to 600 square feet. So you pair that with like a patio with a little fire pit and put a little kitchen in there, and you got a pretty nice place to stay along your journey or make it the destination, however you want to do it. So yeah, those are our 4 formats. Yeah, I'm really excited about all of them, and I think we're doing something really unique.
Yeah, as soon as I saw it, I'm like, oh, this is so cool. So with that, I know you don't want to name names and competitors, but where do you see Rangeway fitting in the market? Like,
yeah, I mean, you can kind of, I'll name competitors in this instance, because it's that way people can kind of get an idea of like what we're doing. Think of like what Ionna was trying to do with their rechargeries, the ones with the indoor space and the lounge and all of that. Took a lot of inspiration from that. We get compared a lot to Rove in Southern California as well, and I love what Rove is doing. I think they're serving a fantastic need, especially in the areas that they're at, with the rideshare community of drivers and all of that. It's definitely needed, and having the supermarket with the fresh food and all that is awesome, and the car wash, it's perfect for LA and California. I took a lot of inspiration from a lot of the CPOs in Europe and the UK. One in particular being Fastned, where Fastned, so the original idea for Rangeway was to put rest stop style EV charging stops along scenic highways or even just regular highways, because that's basically like what Fastnet does. Fastnet is kind of all over the place, all over the EU, and it's literally like a rest stop on the East Coast or anywhere outside of California, I guess. Or a travel plaza, right? Where you can pull off, plug in your car. It's got the canopy. It's got a little building that has like an indoor space that you can go hang out in while you wait for your car to charge. You unplug and then you're just back on the highway. I originally wanted to do that. I'm like, why don't we have that here in the US? I know that they kind of have it up in the Northeast a little bit. But again, it's paired with like gas stations and they're like the amenities are kind of like McDonald's and all of that stuff. But I'm like, why don't we bring that to the rest of the country? And why don't we bring a decent format to the United States? So that's kind of how it started, and as you can tell, it kind of developed a little bit further as we started talking to more people, and they're like, "Well, what about this? What about this?" So it really kind of got us thinking, and yeah, so that's kind of like if you were going to compare us to anybody, it would probably be Ionna, Rove, Fastnet over in Europe. I mean, even down to Electrify America, because they're building a couple of those like spaces with lounges. I know they have one here in downtown San Francisco. Tesla's kind of doing the same thing. Tesla in Europe is doing something similar as well with some modular lounges and stuff as well. So, yeah, we're in good company.
Kind of like what you would think about if someone told you about Mercedes-Benz is building a charging network, but then they did, and they just put them in junky parking lots everywhere.
Yeah, that Mercedes,
that elevated
Mercedes
experience.
one in Atlanta was kind of a huge inspiration for the design aesthetic as well. Like I saw that video, or the couple of videos that were posted on YouTube with that location, and I'm just like, this is gorgeous. Like they need to. That's exactly the experience that I'm going for, because people are buying, $80,000, $90,000, $100,000+ cars to go sit in a Walmart parking lot and have a horrible experience with Electrify America, or not a horrible experience with Walmart charging, but
Yeah, I just thought it was funny because like you think Mercedes-Benz, but then a lot of their newer stations just seem to be just kind of random parking lots here and there. I'm like, that doesn't really scream Mercedes-Benz anymore.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if I were a Mercedes owner, I wouldn't mind stopping at a Buc-ee's though. So that partnership is perfect.
Yeah, been to that one. The one we have one in Springfield here, so
nice.
That one's nice.
That's awesome.
Okay. So kind of start winding down here, but do you have kind of a timeline on when you think things will start moving, or I don't know, you probably can't speak to any specific locations.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what we have on our website. We have 3 locations that we're starting to begin our design work and development work on. One is in Southern California. One is kind of in southern Nevada, if that makes sense. And then one is in West Texas. So we've got 3 sites coming up there. We have 2 coming to the St. Louis area as well. So you will definitely be invited to those. I think the site in California will probably be our first one to go and to open and to like start active development, hopefully in the next month or so. And we're doing something extremely unique with that. Obviously, I can't say too much about it right now, but it's gonna be pretty awesome, and it's in a great spot on a really heavily trafficked area that a lot of people drive every day, and it's going to be really awesome, and I can't wait to bring that one to life. The one in Nevada I'm really excited about because it's close to an area that I used to travel to a lot, and it's one of the places I hear the most about people complaining about EV charging, because it's in an area of Nevada where there is no DC fast charging for 200 plus miles.
Oh, so and not just a charging desert, but an actual desert too.
Exactly, it's an actual desert that has no charging. Granted, it's some of the most beautiful desert I've ever been to, and I was really hoping there's an area maybe about an hour or so from where we're building it that is the home of Area 51. And I was really hoping to find someplace in there, but it's also that area where Area 51 is a little bit too far from the last charging station in Las Vegas to make it make sense. So we didn't pursue that, but I thought it would be kind of fun. But still might have some surprises related to UFOs and aliens at this location. So.
All right. So I kind of led with this. So my last question will be, what's your go-to coffee?
Oh, my favorite go-to coffee is from a roaster that's California-based. They have a very large cafe and roasting facility in West Hollywood called Glass Coffee. They have a blend that's called Owl's Howl that is probably the best coffee I've ever had in my life. And honestly, if you want, yeah, they sell it at Whole Foods. I'm trying to remember if it was in the Midwest. I remember seeing it in Whole Foods in Nashville. So definitely check out your closest Whole Foods. They also do online, cyclasscoffee.com, I believe. But it's probably the best coffee. But my favorite coffee is the coffee that I roast myself.
It's the way to do it.
I just bought a one of those Link coffee roasters. It kind of looks it's an air roaster, but it's all like you can plug it into your computer and graph your own roasting curves and all this stuff.
Wow.
And it doesn't help that Sweet Maria's, which is a coffee roasting supplier, is in Oakland, which is about 40 minutes from me. So anything that I need related to coffee, they have like half of their store is all just green coffee beans from
wow.
like all over the world. It's fantastic. But
you got the right truck to go get it.
Yeah, I usually go in and go for the Ethiopians. Those are my favorite. Any coffee from Africa is my favorite. So,
all right.
Yeah.
All right. So, just wrap it up here. I guess if you want to plug your socials, where people can find you, where they can find more about Rangeway, or keep in touch with Rangeway and watch the progress.
Of course. So, for Rangeway, everything is at rangewayev.com. We're also on all social media platforms: X, Instagram, Blue Sky, LinkedIn. X and Instagram is at RangewayEV. Blue Sky is at rangewayev.com. And LinkedIn, just search for Rangeway. Will be there's us, and then there's a trucking company called Rangeway also, but we're the one with the R with the orange circle on it. For me, you can find me on X at Zak WInnick, and then on Instagram and YouTube at Wild Wattage with a Y instead of an I, kind of a take on Wild Stallions from Bill and Ted. So, I post videos on my YouTube channel about EV charging. My latest video was actually a 100% off-grid EV charging station outside of Baker, California, called Power Station. Those guys are awesome, and that site was absolutely fantastic. And so follow me there.
And I think you have a newsletter as well, correct?
Oh, yeah. Rangeway has a newsletter called Field Notes. You can sign up on our website, or you can go to fieldnotes.rangewayev.com. Now that things are picking up a little bit more, I'm hopefully going to be sending out more of those. But yeah, just if you don't want to keep checking our website or our socials, that's the best way to find out what's going on with us also.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to chat with little old me on my little old channel here.
Anything I can do to help, man. I love it.
Appreciate it. I look forward to following the progress, and maybe after a few sites open or something, a couple of years or whatever, get back on here again and see how things are going.
Sounds great, man. And definitely when we get those sites open in St. Louis, you got an invite to be the first one there.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I will definitely be there, plug ready to go.
Hell yeah, let's go.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you, man.
You got it, Eric. Thanks a lot.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you, Zach, for coming on and being my guinea pig as my first guest on the show, the channel. That was a great conversation. Really looking forward to seeing Rangeway build out and see what that company can become. So once again, thank you, Zach. Moving on to the Q&A segment. Yeah, nobody dropped any questions. Time for the soapbox. And this is interesting because I was just complimenting Ionna and Circle K for their partnership. But I got a bone to pick. they missed a huge opportunity to advertise, or for when they dropped the press materials. Why they didn't do, well, let's just show you what I came up with.
Bill, what? Strange things are afoot at the Circle K. Whoa! Not bad.
Really? It was right there. How did they not do that? It was so easy. It took me like 10 minutes to make that. Come on, guys. That would have been great. That's how you should have dropped that one. That's it. That was fun. I wanted to keep this one kind of lighthearted and upbeat because we had the great conversation with Zach, and now we're going to roll into the Creator Spotlight. And this episode's spotlight is Walter from The Network Architect. I'm sure most of you know who Walter is. I highly doubt anyone watching my channel isn't watching his as well. He also does great work on the Out of Spec Bits channel, including his should-be award-winning interview with yours truly. Anyway, now Walter's a great guy. I've gotten to know him recently. Does great work. He's one of the cornerstones of what we do here with EV YouTube. I mean, the way he tracks everything and gets everybody involved. I mean, just hats off. If I had a hat on, which I probably should because I can't do anything about this glare. But anyway, if you're not checking out The Network Architect and Walter's Out of Spec Bits updates, you need to. It's great information, way better than anything I could ever do. So, good job, Walter. Keep up the good work. So with that, that's another episode of What's Up. If you've made it this far, for one thing, like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. But also, keep an eye out. Wednesday. Might just be something coming on Wednesday. That's a little treat for those of you that made it this far. All right, we probably got on long enough. So with that, I will see you on the next one.